Hello everybody, welcome to the signal box today for another video. Thank you very much for joining me, and if this is your first time here, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe if you like what you see. Anyway, let's crack on with today's video. So following up from yesterday's disaster discovery with 6022 Mallard in the Brunswick Green loco that I got off eBay recently, and the seller rather cheekily didn't mention or document that there was a crack in the chassis block. In fact, it was so bad that when I took the keeper plate off underneath and lifted the wheels out, the wheels went one way and two bits of the chassis went the other way, as you saw in my video last night. So the update on the story, well, firstly what I've done, I've actually repainted the handrails for a start. So I've painted the handrails black, which I think look a bit better. I know, yes, for purist reasons, the 1979 version had silver handrails and mine doesn't, I know, but I just think it looks better with the blackened handrails. It just makes it look a little bit more tidier. I wasn't going to paint it silver, and for some reason I just think it looks better black. I've cleaned up the bodywork a little bit with a soft brush and given it a little bit of a clean up. The boiler bands, interestingly enough, I know Andrew Rice out there, give a shout out to one of my followers, Andrew Rice. He commented exactly what I said yesterday, that the boiler bands look a little bit too thickly applied paint wise. And even though this is a little bit obvious, do you know what, guys and girls, I've actually studied photographs between last night and today online of the original model that's actually available in multiple forms on eBay. And every single body shell example has got this kind of thickness to the boiler band orangey red paint that's on the front there. It's just unfortunately how it's been applied generally, I think. So I thought someone had gone over the top of it with some orangey red paint and made it 10 times thicker. No, in actual fact, pretty much this is how it left Margate in 1979, that kind of thickness, which I think there was no quality control over that. A little bit of a bizarre thing. But then again, if I had my Hornby Duchess of Sutherland, which was also made in 1978/79, if I had it on the table with me today, which I don't unfortunately, but if I did have it on the table, there are quite a few lining discrepancies paint wise around the tendon, around the cylinder blocks, that are not 100% crisp. So I think you've got to really sort of weigh up the cost that this particular body shell and model, more importantly R350, was made in, as I said, in 1979, back in the Margate factory in Great Britain. And it's I'm not defending the fact that it looks a little bit slightly overpainted, but I think injustice wise, all the paint lining work was all done by hand, with bow pens and by artists in the factory, people that stood on the production line day after day and by hand put this lining on the boiler and on the loco bodies, and all the lining work done was all done by hand, whereas now it's all done by computer and by a very accurate, very smooth machine. That's why for example, if I put my Hornby Merlin on the table, the boiler bands are much thinner and more scale prototypical, whereas this thing, they look slightly over scale paint wise a little bit. There are a few little discrepancies on there, but I think you have to take that into granted for the vintageness of this model. Anyway, so I've painted that side, as you can see. I'll bring it in a little bit closer, as you can see there. It don't look half bad. It's not fantastic, but then again, it isn't that bad. It's not great, but it's acceptable, I think. There you go. If you look at that shot there, I've done both sides, obviously. I think it looks better. So yeah, as mentioned, I gave this body a little bit of a wipe over with a dry, soft paintbrush. I didn't want to immerse this in warm soapy water, because there's the danger that you could damage the number transfers on the side of the cab, and any decals applied on there, given its age, you might be in danger of losing those. So I didn't want to do that. So I just basically gave it a tidy up. The weird thing that was going on underneath, for some reason, there was a lot of plastic wear and scuffing on here and on here, which where the back driving wheels sit. Now, obviously, in factory manufacture, there's plenty of scope and clearance for the driving wheels, otherwise it wouldn't allow it to roll off the production line. So the fact that it was really sort of roughly filed and scuffed here and here really sort of presented me with a bit of a conundrum, as it were. I thought, well, why is that so much wear on that body shell there? It shouldn't happen if the wheels are well within tolerance of clearance. So anyway, I couldn't work that out. So what I'd done, I just came in with the black paint. Oops. Bit of rock and roll going on today. I came in with the black paint basically. If I come over here to the light source, and I just painted on both sides there. Firstly, I sandpapered it down so to get rid of all that burnishing that had gone on in that inside the bodywork there and the frames. I just tidied it all up to a smooth finish and then painted it over with some matte black rail match paint. And whoops, this way. Yeah, so you can see that I've tidied it up a little bit inside. Painted it black so it's darker, so it doesn't notice. Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one, that, but anyway, I've tidied it up so I know that it's there, and at least it looks a little bit tidy. You'll never see that because it sits that way up on the running side of things. It doesn't run upside down, it runs that way obviously with the wheels underneath, so you'll never see that area. But in my mind's eye, because I'm quite pedantic, if I know it's there, it's there. Anyway, so that's done. What else did I do on this morning? The cab glazing was a little bit loosey-goosey, so I just secured it in place with some Humbrol plastic cement, so those windows are there in place now. I still don't understand the reason why it's orange though. Orangey yellow glazing. It's got like a tint on it, and that's very, very odd for plastic windows on the Loco. That's not my table lamp doing that orange yellow tint. That's the actual light coming through the coloured plastic windows. So I don't know why they are orangey yellow. Maybe it's age. Maybe maybe the windows, the colour of the plastic has warped, or not warped, but I mean maybe it's become discoloured, I think is the word, in someone's sunlit room or something. I don't know. It could happen. But then again, if you leave a Loco stuck in the sunshine, that's not a smart idea anyway. So it might be with age. It might be with something they've just added. And yes, you can buy replacement cab windows for these Margate made A4s, and for all Hornby Locos in that age category, I think you can. But I'm not going to bother. I've already spent enough pennies out on this thing. With postage and packaging, I paid slightly just over £70 for this Loco with the tender and everything complete in the box, as we saw yesterday, or incomplete as we say. So £70 is quite a lot of money. It is for me. And then I've had to shell out this morning a third my teeth in a minute. Harold, what's your teeth in, Dad? I've spent out a further £35 this morning on eBay, and I've acquired a replacement chassis for this, which is the other good news I wanted to share with you this morning briefly. So we've painted the handrails, we've improved those dramatically. I think they look much better from that shot there. Yeah, definitely better. So we've ordered the replacement chassis for this, which is a Margate made Hornby A4. So it comes complete not only with the chassis block, but with the com rods, the wheels, the linkage, everything ready to go. So hopefully when we get that this week, I'll just take off the keeper plate. I will give it a quick scoosh out with some contact cleaner, a little bit of oil, and pop everything back together, and we should be ready for the weekend, up and running. So she will run again. I was debating about getting a running chassis, and I thought no. And I saw it on eBay this morning. Someone had put it on there, and it was being watched, and somebody was after it. And I thought, no. I'm going to have to take the plunge and get that. I didn't really want to spend £35 on top of what this cost already. I mean, sadly, this locomotive, in terms of price-wise, what I paid for it, I think the seller, if he was honest and said, you know what, I'm sorry to let you know, guys, if you want to buy this model, there are a few discrepancies with it, being the chassis has a crack and a split. Here is said crack and split on said chassis. And to show you it in the photograph, and be honest, but as some of you have commented on the previous video, guys, that sadly not everyone is as honest as you and me. And that is a very, very big letdown, I think, in the hobby, or with anything in life these days. People try and sell you a dud, and they try and cover it up, and you know, they think that you don't know what you're doing, and oh dear, it's really a sad thing. And I think especially with us railway modelers, it should be a code of honour, like a gent's code, you know. To be a true gent in life, you must be honest and you must be fair. So I think if you're going to sell a model that has a few imperfections or a defect, then list it as so, show what's wrong with it, and sell it at a reasonable, fair price based upon the inadequacies of the model. And that's all you have to do in life. But to rip someone off and to hide everything under a keeper plate and hold everything together with 3 screws, so that as soon as you pop everything off, loco body goes one way, the wheels go another, and the chassis goes in 3 pieces. It's like, no. That's cheeky. And the name of the seller, his company or eBay tag, is quite funny as well, as it gives the impression that what he sells is 100% perfect. I'm sorry to say, after that little escapade, sir, you will not be getting my custom ever again. That's really, really not good. That's not good practice in life anyway. But you never know, maybe this eBay seller that knew about that and rather cheekily sold it to me, maybe he or she will buy something in future which they think is good, and they'll have exactly the same experience. What comes around goes around. I'm a firm believer in that in life. Anyway, enough about that. Let's look at the positive side of what can be done with Mallard. So, as mentioned, I've got a replacement chassis on the way. So as soon as we do that, we will get her up and running again. And like I said, it's another loco to my collection that I haven't got, and it's vintage. So that's why partly I'm attracted to this model, because of its age and its vintageness. But yeah, that's the story so far. So I just thought I'd just swing by and give you guys a quick update about what's happening next with Mallard. And unfortunately, it's one of those things in life where, you know, you don't know these things, and unfortunately someone does that to you. But we mustn't stay on the ground in a heap of dust and feel sorry for ourselves. We must get straight back up on the horse and continue to ride. Anyways, I'll see you soon in the next video. I'll give you an update when that chassis turns up in the post. I'll have it fitted up, oiled, and we'll have Mallard running again on my railway very soon. In the meantime, ladies and gents, have a wonderful day. Don't forget to hit the good old like and subscribe, and a big thank you to all my regular subscribers. Shout out to Eric, and also to Andrew Rice, and to Patrick Quinn, and to all the regular subscribers. Thank you so much for your kind comments and your sound advice as well. Always appreciated. Have yourselves a great day. See you soon, and take care, and mind the doors.